My name is Lauren, and I am 32 years old, and I am standing in my mother's kitchen, holding a half-empty wine glass that I don't even remember pouring. The sun is setting through the bay window, and it's casting this orange glow over the granite countertops my stepdad installed last spring. Everyone is laughing in the living room. My older sister Jenna is telling some story about her husband's promotion. My younger brother Kyle is showing off pictures of his new baby on his phone. And my mother, Margaret, is doing what she always does. She's looking at me with that tight smile that says, "I love you, but I wish you'd get your life together." It's Thanksgiving, or it was Thanksgiving. The turkey is carved, the pie is half-eaten, and I am the only person at this table who hasn't achieved something worth celebrating this year. Jenna catches my eye from across the room and raises her voice just enough for everyone to hear. "So, Lauren, how's the job hunt going?" The room goes quiet for a second. Not completely quiet, but that kind of hush where people pretend they aren't listening while they absolutely are. My mother stops wiping down the stove. Kyle's wife Emma glances up from the baby. Even my stepdad Bruce, who usually stays out of these things, looks over his reading glasses. I take a sip of wine and I feel the burn in my throat. It's going. I have a few interviews next week. Jenna nods slowly, like she's processing information that doesn't impress her. That's great.
What kind of positions? Marketing coordinator, staff, social media management, things like that. Entry level? She asks, and she doesn't mean it to sound cruel. That's the thing about Jenna. She never means it to sound cruel. But she's been a senior account executive at a tech firm for 6 years. She makes $140,000 a year. Her idea of struggle is when the cleaning lady comes on Tuesday instead of Monday. So when she says entry level, she might as well be saying failure. My mother jumps in because she can't help herself. Lauren's just getting back on her feet after everything with Marcus. It takes time. There it is, the elephant in the room that never leaves. Marcus, my ex-husband, the man I caught in our bed with his personal trainer 2 days before our 4th anniversary. The man who told me I was being dramatic when I threw his golf clubs into the pool. The man who cleaned out our joint savings account and moved to Scottsdale with a 23-year-old named Tiffany who has cheekbones you could cut glass with. That was 18 months ago. 18 months of couch surfing at friends' apartments, 18 months of maxing out credit cards on a divorce lawyer who wasn't even that good, 18 months of watching everyone my age buy houses and have babies and post engagement photos, while I lived in a studio apartment above a pizza place that smells like garlic even when I'm trying to sleep. Now I'm back in my mother's kitchen on Thanksgiving, and I feel like I'm 17 again, like I never left, like I never got married or had a career, or pretended I had it all figured out. "You know, I could ask around at my firm," Jenna says. "We might have some temp work, administrative stuff." Administrative stuff. She means reception. She means making coffee and answering phones and being the person everyone forgets is there. And the worst part is, I want to say no. I want to tell her I'm better than that. But I'm not. I'm not better than anything right now. Thanks, Jenna. I'll let you know. Kyle clears his throat and shifts the baby to his other arm. I heard Marcus got promoted again. Tiffany's pregnant. My mother shoots him a look that could freeze fire. But the damage is done. The words hang in the air like smoke. My ex-husband, who destroyed me, is out there winning at life, while I'm here drinking wine I didn't pay for in a kitchen I don't own. I set the glass down, and I feel my nails digging into my palms. That's great for them. Nobody says anything for a long moment. Then Emma starts talking about daycare costs, and the room exhales. The conversation moves on without me. It always does. I slip out the back door onto the patio, and I sit on the cold concrete steps. The air smells like fallen leaves and someone's fireplace down the street. I pull my cardigan tighter, and I let myself cry for exactly 30 seconds. That's the rule I made after the divorce. 30 seconds of feeling sorry for myself, and then I have to move on. But tonight, the 30 seconds turn into a minute, and then 2 minutes, and then I'm just sitting there with tears freezing on my cheeks, wondering how I ended up here. My phone buzzes in my pocket. It's a message from a number I don't recognize. "Lauren, this is David, from the conference last month. Hope you don't mind me reaching out. I have a business proposition for you."
I stare at the screen. David, from the conference. I went to a digital marketing conference 6 weeks ago because it was free and they had open bar. I met a lot of people that night. Most of them were drunk. Most of them forgot my name by morning. But David was different. He was older, maybe early 50s, silver hair, quiet confidence. He ran some kind of media company, I think. We talked for maybe 20 minutes about content strategy, and then he handed me his card and said he admired my thinking. I assumed he was just being polite. Men like that don't admire women like me. But here he is, texting me on Thanksgiving night. I wipe my face and type back. Hi, David. Of course. What kind of proposition? He responds almost immediately. I'm launching a new lifestyle brand. Need someone with your instincts. Can you come to the city Monday morning? My treat. My instincts. I don't know what instincts he's talking about. My instincts told me to marry Marcus.
My instincts told me to quit my job when he said he wanted a stay-at-home wife. My instincts have been wrong about everything for 5 years, but something makes me type yes anyway. Monday morning comes faster than I wanted to. I drive 2 hours from my mom's house in Connecticut to Manhattan, and I parked my beat-up Honda in a garage that costs more than my weekly grocery budget. I'm wearing the only interview outfit I still own, a black blazer from Banana Republic that's starting to pill at the cuffs, a white blouse I ironed 3 times, black heels that pinch my toes. The address David sent me is in the financial district, a glass tower that touches the clouds. I walk through the revolving door and the lobby is all marble and orchids and security guards with earpieces. I give my name at the desk and the receptionist smiles like I belong here, even though we both know I don't. David meets me on the 34th floor. He's taller than I remember, and his handshake is warm. Not the kind that crushes your fingers to prove something, just firm and present. Lauren, thanks for coming. Let me show you around. The office is still under construction. There are exposed wires and workers in hard hats and the smell of fresh paint. But I can see the vision. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Hudson River. Open workstations with brand new Macs still in plastic. A kitchenette stocked with LaCroix and cold brew. This isn't a startup trying to survive. This is a company that already knows it's going to win. David walks me through the space, and he talks about his vision for the brand. It's called Reverie, a lifestyle platform for women who are tired of pretending. Women who have been knocked down and told to stay down. Women who are ready to rebuild. I stop walking. That's specific. He turns to face me, and his eyes are kind. I read your blog. The one you started after your divorce. The one you think nobody sees. My face goes hot. The blog. The stupid late-night blog I started on a whim when I couldn't sleep and had nowhere else to put my feelings. I write about heartbreak and humiliation and the tiny victories of getting out of bed. I write about Marcus and the trainer and the day I found a pair of her earrings under the couch. I write about my mother's tight smile and Jenna's innocent cruelty and the way the world treats divorced women like damaged goods. I thought maybe 50 people read it, most of them probably my ex-mother-in-law who still feels guilty about how her son turned out. You read my blog, I say. It's not a question. Every post. Twice. David starts walking again, and I follow him into a corner office that isn't finished yet. There's a desk and a chair and a single succulent on the windowsill. You have a voice, Lauren. A real one. Most people in this industry write what they think will sell. You write what you feel. That's rare. That's valuable. I don't know what to say. Nobody has ever called me valuable. Not since before Marcus. Not since I was someone with potential instead of someone who wasted it. I want you to be the face of Reverie, David says. Creative director. You'll build the content team. You'll shape the voice. You'll tell the stories. I'll pay you $90,000 a year, plus equity and benefits. $90,000. That's more than I made at my last job before Marcus convinced me to quit. That's enough for a real apartment. Enough to stop accepting handouts for my mother. Enough to walk into Thanksgiving next year and say something that makes Jenna shut up. Why me? I ask. Because I have to ask. Because nothing in my life has come with a catch. David leans against the window frame and crosses his arms. Because you understand the audience better than anyone I've interviewed. Because you've lived it. Because I built my last company from nothing, and I learned that success comes from betting on people who have something to prove. He pauses.
And because I saw the way you handled yourself at that conference when that guy from Adweek tried to talk over you. You didn't yell. You didn't back down. You just looked at him and said, I wasn't finished. That's the kind of woman I want leading this brand. I remember that moment. I remember the way my hand shook under the table. I remember forcing myself to speak, even though my voice wanted to crack. I didn't feel powerful. I felt terrified.
But apparently, terrified looks exactly like brave from the outside. I take the job. The first 3 months at Reverie are a blur of coffee and deadlines and learning to trust myself again. David gives me freedom I've never had. He doesn't micromanage. He doesn't second-guess my decisions. He just shows up every morning, asks how he can help, and then gets out of my way. I hire a small team, 2 writers fresh out of college who have that hungry energy I remember having once. A video editor named Chloe, who wears combat boots to work and makes everything look cinematic. A social media manager named Marcus. Different Marcus. Better Marcus. Marcus with the kind eyes and the quiet laugh, who brings me a latte every Tuesday because he knows I forget to eat lunch. The brand launches in February, and something strange happens. It works. The blog posts I write about rebuilding your life after rock bottom start getting shared by people I've never met. Women send me messages. Long ones, raw ones. They tell me about their own divorces, their own family members who made them feel small, their own nights spent crying on concrete steps while everyone else celebrated. I reply to every single message. I don't use templates or canned responses. I write back like I'm talking to a friend, because that's what they are. They're my people, the ones who got knocked down and told to stay down, the ones who refused. By April, Reverie has 500,000 followers across platforms. By June, we're profitable. By August, I'm standing in my new apartment, a real one, with windows that open and a dishwasher that works and a bedroom door that closes all the way. I bought a couch that isn't stained. I bought sheets that cost more than $40. I bought a plant, and I haven't killed it yet. My mother calls every Sunday now, not to check up on me, just to talk. She tells me she's proud of me, and I believe her for the first time since I was 12 years old. Jenna sends me articles about Reverie with little notes that say, "Look at you." No sarcasm, just pride. Kyle asks if I'll speak at his company's Women's Leadership Summit. Emma asks for my skincare routine because I apparently look younger now that I'm not constantly stressed about money. I should be happy. I am happy, but there's a part of me that's waiting for the other shoe to drop, because happiness has never lasted for me. Because every time I think I've made it, something comes along to remind me that I don't deserve good things. That something comes in September, and her name is Victoria. Victoria is David's wife. I didn't know David had a wife. He never wears a ring. He never talks about a partner. He works late and travels on weekends and orders takeout at his desk like a man with nobody waiting at home. So when she walks into the office on a Tuesday morning, wearing a cream-colored dress and sunglasses indoors, I assume she's a new client. She introduces herself to the receptionist and asks for David. Her voice carries across the open floor plan. It's the kind of voice that expects things, that has never been told no. David comes out of his office, and his face does something strange. It softens and hardens at the same time. He kisses her cheek like a politician, and then leads her into his office and closes the door. I don't think much of it at first. David is a private person. He's allowed to have a wife he never mentions. But then the door stays closed for 2 hours, then 3. Then Chloe starts sending me Slack messages asking if everything is okay. I don't know. So I stay at my desk and pretend to work until the door finally opens and Victoria walks out. She doesn't look at anyone. She just heads straight for the elevator with her heels clicking like gunshots on the hardwood floor. David appears in his doorway, and his face is pale. He looks at me across the office, and for a moment I see something behind his eyes. Guilt, maybe? Or fear? Or both? "Lauren, can you come here, please?" I walk into his office and close the door behind me. The blinds are still drawn. The air smells like expensive perfume and tension. "That was my wife," he says. "Victoria. We've been separated for 2 years, but we're not divorced. She found out about the company, about Reverie. She wants half." I feel my stomach drop. Half of what? Half of everything. The equity, the profits, the intellectual property. She's claiming she funded the startup costs with marital assets.
Which is technically true. She comes from money. Her father wrote the first check. I sit down in the chair across from his desk and I try to process what he's saying. Reverie is mine. I built it. I shaped the voice. I hired the team. I wrote every single post that went viral. David provided the capital and the connections, but the brand itself came from my blood and tears and sleepless nights. If Victoria takes half, there's nothing left. No budget for salaries, no money for marketing, no future. What do we do? I ask. David rubs his temples. I'm meeting with my lawyer tomorrow. There might be a way to structure around it, but I need you to know something. Whatever happens, I'm not going to let this fail. I made you a promise, and I keep my promises. I want to believe him, but I've heard promises before. I've heard I love you from a man who meant I love what you do for me. I've heard we're in this together from a man who meant I'm in this until something better comes along. David has been good to me, but men are men, and men leave. The next few weeks are a nightmare. Victoria's lawyers are aggressive. They want financial records, they want depositions, they want to know exactly how much of Reverie's success came from David's money versus my talent. The answer should be obvious. The money was just fuel. The engine was me. But the legal system doesn't care about engines. It cares about paper trails and signatures and who paid for what. I spend my nights lying awake in my new apartment, staring at the ceiling. The plant is still alive, but I've started forgetting to water it. The sheets are still expensive, but they feel cold. The window's still open, but the air that comes in smells like exhaust and anxiety. My team feels the tension. Chloe asks if she should update her resume. Marcus asks if I'm okay every hour on the hour. The writers keep producing content, but I can tell their hearts aren't in it. Everyone is waiting for the other shoe. It drops on a Friday afternoon in October. David calls me into his office and closes the door. His face is gray. He looks 10 years older than he did 6 months ago. Victoria's lawyers filed a motion this morning, he says. They're asking the court to freeze all company assets pending the divorce settlement. That means no payroll, no operating expenses, nothing. I feel the words hit me like physical objects. When? Monday. Unless I can work something out over the weekend. He looks at me and I see tears in his eyes. Real ones. Lauren, I'm sorry. I should have told you about her from the beginning. I should have been honest about the situation. I wanted this so badly. I wanted to build something with you. And I was selfish. I want to scream at him. I want to throw the succulent at his head. I want to ask him how dare he drag me into his messy marriage and let me pour my entire soul into a project that could be ripped away at any moment. But I don't do any of those things, because screaming won't fix it. And because some part of me still believes that David is a good man who made a bad choice. What do you need from me? I ask. He shakes his head. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep the team focused. Keep creating. If we show the court that Reverie is more than just my money, if we show them it's a living, breathing brand with real value beyond the capital, then maybe we can negotiate a better outcome. So that's what I do. I go back to my desk, and I open my laptop, and I write. I write about fear. I write about uncertainty. I write about the terror of building something beautiful on ground that might not be yours. I write about the way life keeps knocking you down just when you think you've finally figured it out. The post goes live at 6 p.m. By 8 p.m., it has 50,000 shares. By midnight, it has 200,000. Women are commenting in droves. They're sharing their own stories of building and losing and rebuilding again. They're sending me messages that say, keep going. Don't stop. We're with you. I cry on my expensive sheets until I fall asleep. Monday morning arrives like a verdict. I drive to the office not knowing if I still have a job. Not knowing if my team still has jobs. Not knowing if anything I built over the past year was real or just a borrowed dream. The lobby is different today. There are reporters, cameras, microphones. I don't understand what's happening until I see the headline on someone's phone. Divorce battle threatens women's empowerment brand, Reverie. Someone leaked the story, probably Victoria, probably trying to pressure David into settling. But the public reaction isn't what she expected. Women are angry.
They're flooding social media with support for Reverie and for me. They're sharing my blog posts. They're writing op-eds about the importance of protecting creative work from marital disputes. They're starting a petition that gets 100,000 signatures in 12 hours. I push through the crowd of reporters and take the elevator to the 34th floor. The office is chaos. My team is gathered around a laptop watching a news segment about the brand. Chloe looks up when I walk in, and her eyes are wide. "Lauren, you need to see this." I look at the screen. It's a morning show. The hosts are discussing the Reverie situation. And then the segment cuts to an interview, a live interview, with my mother. My mother is sitting on a couch in her living room, the same living room where she looked at me with that tight smile on Thanksgiving. But her face is different now. Her face is fierce. "Lauren is the strongest person I know," my mother says into the camera. "She went through a divorce that would have broken most people. She lost her home, her savings, her sense of self, and she still got up every morning and tried." When my other children were climbing the corporate ladder, Lauren was climbing out of a hole that someone else dug for her, and she did it alone. She did it with no help from me, because I was too busy judging her to actually see her. Tears are streaming down my face. I can't stop them. "Reverie is Lauren's," my mother continues. "Not David's, not his wife's. Lauren's. She built that brand with her own heart and her own hands, and if the court takes it away from her, it's not justice. It's theft, plain and simple." The segment ends. The office is silent. And then my phone rings. It's a number I don't recognize, but I answer anyway, because at this point I have nothing left to lose. "Lauren, it's David. I'm downstairs with someone you need to meet. Can you come to the lobby?" I take the elevator down with my heart pounding. The reporters are still there, but they part when I walk through. And at the center of the crowd is David, standing next to a man I've only ever seen on magazine covers. His name is William Cross. He's the CEO of Cross Media, one of the biggest publishing companies in the world. He's worth billions. He's also notoriously private. He never does interviews. He never makes public appearances. And he's standing in my office lobby in a gray suit, looking at me like I'm the most important person in the room. "Lauren," he says. His voice is calm, steady. "I've been following your story. I've read every word you've written. And I have to tell you, I've never seen anything like what you've built." I don't know what to say, so I say nothing. William Cross steps closer. The cameras are flashing. The reporters are shouting questions, but he doesn't look at any of them. He only looks at me. "I want to buy Reverie," he says. "Not the assets, not the intellectual property. I want to buy the brand from you, from Lauren, and I want to give you full creative control with a $10 million budget and a guarantee that no court, no divorce, no legal battle can touch what you've built." $10 million. The number doesn't even sound real. It sounds like something that happens to other people, people with trust funds and famous last names, not people like me, not people who cried on concrete steps on Thanksgiving night. "Why?" I whisper. "Because I still have to ask. Because I still can't believe that good things come without a catch." William Cross smiles. It's a small smile, almost sad. "Because my mother was you. She was a woman who got knocked down by life and told to stay down. She never got back up. She died believing she wasn't good enough. I watch you get back up every single day, and I want to make sure you never have to do it alone again." Then he does something that stops time. He opens his arms and he hugs me, right there in front of the cameras and the reporters and the crowd of strangers. He wraps his arms around me like I'm someone worth holding, like I'm someone who matters, and I break. I don't cry quietly like I did on my mother's patio. I sob, loud, ugly, ugly sobs that come from a place I didn't know existed. I sob for the girl who married the wrong man, for the woman who lost everything, for the person who spent 18 months thinking she was worthless. For every single night I cried myself to sleep, wondering if I'd ever be enough. William Cross holds me until I stop shaking. Then he pulls back and looks me in the eye.
You're not a failure, Lauren. You never were. You're a woman who took every hit life gave her and kept standing. And that's not failure. That's everything. The cameras keep flashing. The reporters keep shouting. But I don't hear any of it. All I hear is the sound of my own heart learning to beat again. The deal closes in 3 weeks. Victoria's lawyers try to fight it, but Cross Media has a legal team the size of a small army, and they don't lose. David and Victoria settle their divorce quietly. He walks away with a fraction of what he wanted, but he tells me he doesn't care. He says building Reverie with me was worth more than any payout. I don't know if I believe him, but I choose to, because I'm done assuming the worst about people. I'm done waiting for the other shoe. I'm done living like happiness is temporary and pain is permanent. My mother calls me after the deal is announced. She's crying, happy crying, the kind where you can hear the smile through the phone. I'm so proud of you, baby, she says. I should have said it sooner. I should have said it every day. You're saying it now, I tell her. That's what matters. Jenna sends a text that just says, I love you. No sarcasm, no subtext, just love. Kyle asks me to be godmother to his next baby. Emma sends me a plant that's somehow even harder to kill than mine. And I sit in my apartment, my real apartment, with my windows that open and my dishwasher that works and my plant that's still alive. And I write. Not because I have to, not because someone is paying me, but because writing is how I breathe, how I process, how I remind myself that I survived. I write a post called The Day the CEO Hugged Me. I write about William Cross and my mother and the reporters and the cameras. I write about what it felt like to finally be seen after a lifetime of feeling invisible. I write about all the women who sent me messages and signed petitions and shared my words. I write about the girl on the concrete steps who thought her life was over. And at the end of the post, I write this. You are not a failure. You never were. You are someone who took every hit and kept standing. And that is not failure. That is everything. The post goes viral. Again. But this time, it's different. This time, I don't cry alone. I cry with my team in the office. With Chloe, who brings me tissues, and Marcus, who brings me coffee, and David, who stands in the doorway looking prouder than I've ever seen him. William Cross doesn't call to congratulate me. He doesn't need to. Because I see him a week later at a charity gala, and he walks across the room just to shake my hand. No hug this time, just a handshake and a smile. Keep going, he says. And I will. I'll keep going for the rest of my life, not because I have something to prove, not because I'm afraid of what happens if I stop, but because I finally understand that getting knocked down isn't failure. Staying down is, and I'm never staying down again.